we're coming to you from New York Comic-Con from the Newsarama Skybox, and I have Mac Walters here, the mastermind behind Mass Effect.
That's putting it very generously, but thank you.
Well, you were here yesterday. The convention started yesterday.
Yeah.
And you had a big signing.
Yeah, we had a signing yesterday. I've got another one today. It was great. You know, the crowd sometimes on Thursday, you don't know what you're going to get, but it was a great crowd, and I'm already starting to lose my voice, so that's a good sign of a good con right there.
Well, obviously, you know, Mass Effect is a hugely popular video game. Yep. You've completed your trilogy,
yep.
And now the world is continuing in the comic books.
Yeah,
and
that's correct.
You've done a number for Dark Horse.
Yeah, we're on our 4th issue, and this is the first 12-issue series that we're doing in Foundations.
4th series.
4th series, sorry, yeah, 4th series. And this one, Foundations, is 12, which we haven't done before, and it's running monthly for a full year. So that was a lot of extra work for me, but you know, with Mass Effect being done, I had a little bit of extra time.
Comic book sized.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a lot of fun getting into that.
Well, what I always wonder is, you know, video games are so interactive. Comic books not.
Right.
How is it keeping the audience satisfied when they can't, you know, go in there and play around with it?
You know, I think one of the keys to it is that our games are naturally very character-based. We tell big stories, and to me, the way to make that story interesting in the game is to tie it around characters that you love and are deep. But you can only explore each of the individual characters other than your own, you know, Shepard character to a degree that you're going to interact with them and go see them, right? And it's always through Shepard's eyes. Now, in the comics, I can go take any one of those characters and we can take a moment in time and see what it's like for them. So, for instance, an issue, I think it was issue number 3, we went back and looked at Ashley Williams, who's been throughout the series, you know, a potential love interest for Shepard and certainly one of their favorite companions. And we know through the games that in that case, she lost her entire squad right at the opening of Mass Effect 1. And in the comics, we tell that story, and it becomes much more personal.
Oh, that's great.
And interesting. So we're going to tell stories that we already know, but elaborate on the details to give you sort of a little glimpse into their lives.
But there isn't room in the game. Right?
Exactly, exactly.
Well, you've been very definitive. You're the head writer of the series, so you're in charge.
Yep.
And you've been very definitive that it's a trilogy. It's over.
Yep.
Right? Why did you make that very controversial decision? Because they're always bringing trilogies back now. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Hollywood's like, we can always revisit it. Why did you want to close the door?
I think, to be fair, I mean, that's in charge is a strong word. It's a big team, and also, you know, Casey Hudson, the executive producer, I think that's always been his intention since the beginning, since we started this. But this was, again, when I say it's character-based, this was going to be Shepard's story, right? And if you leave that character around and you say, oh yeah, you know, the story's done, but they're still around. Well, everyone keeps asking, exactly to your point, well, when's the next trilogy? Or why can't we start it up again? Or why can't it keep going, right? And that's just one of the reasons. There's many reasons, but I think this way we kind of, you know, you just say, yeah, I understand. It's over. It's kind of like Breaking Bad. You know, Walter White's story is obviously over.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, and they made sure of that.
Exactly.
Despite Jeffrey Katzenberg's ridiculous offer of $75 million to continue it.
Yes, nobody offered us that much money.
Yeah, you should be like, Katzenberg, I'm open.
Yeah, it's like, we'll resurrect Shepard. We had that little moment where Shepard, no, we're not going to do that.
Well, it's interesting because even though Shepard's story is done, your Mass Effect 4 isn't on the schedule yet, but you're working on it. Yeah. It's in the same universe.
That's correct. That's correct.
So, and the comic books are in the same universe.
That's correct.
So what is with the Foundation, are you setting the foundation for Mass Effect 4?
Actually, no. Foundation is kind of going back in time because, again, we didn't get to explore. There's so many amazing characters, so many, and just even the squad mates that can go with Shepard throughout the game. There's something like 17 of them throughout the course, or 18 more, probably forgetting someone, who can actually join you. And so we started in the previous series with the comics, which was Homeworld, to do these one-off issues that sort of explored one of those characters. Foundation is a continue of that. We're still going. We're trying to get through all those characters.
All of them,
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Now with the new,
is there continuity between issues, or can people just go and find their favorite character and just read that one?
With Homeworlds, it was just go in and find your favorite character and you can read it. What we tried to do, because this was a 12-issue series, I think it might actually be 13 issues. We actually brought in a character who was introduced in our last DLC, the Citadel DLC, and she sort of ties a thread between all of it. But each story is an individual one-off story. But if you were to read the entire series together, there feels like there's some continuity going there.
Why did you decide to switch from a male protagonist with Shepard to female protagonist in the comics?
I don't know. I didn't really consciously decide that. We had this really interesting character in the Citadel DLC. She was called Brooks in the DLC, and I thought, you know, we always like to tie them back and forth. We don't just like to go off and write something brand new So I liked her character, what they were going to be doing with her in Citadel DLC, and I said, let's have an intro for her. Everybody else gets an origin story. What's her origin story? And that's issue 1 of Foundation, where we see her origin story, and we find out the name she goes by at that time as Raza. And then she sort of works for Cerberus and ties together all these different plot lines of the individual characters as she's following them or trying to find out information about them.
Nice. Very cool, very cool. So Mass Effect 4 is coming up. You're in the middle of Foundation, right?
Yep.
Some rumblings, Legendary has your movie rights.
They do,
right?
yeah, and that it continues. I think it was interesting. I totally blank on the name, but somebody who just recently was talking about, because they tried the Mass Effect movie, and they were talking about how hard it was, because you're taking something that is so massive, so huge, with so many different changing storylines. Yeah. And they
Shepard changes per player.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
That's right. And so they were saying, no, I can't get into that. It was too hard. And so I think that's where it's at now. It's just trying to find what is the story that you can tell that's compelling and exciting in the Mass Effect universe that feels like it's following in line with the story that we had, but also conforms to all the needs of you're making a 90 to
Well, you find your entry point,
120-minute movie. Yeah.
Well, Legendary is also doing a Warcraft movie, and comic book movies are so successful. Do you think that video game movies might reach that same level of quality?
I think they can, for sure. It all depends on the treatment they're going to get. If you just want to say, yeah, this is just all about action and we're just going to throw it together and make an action movie, then you're going to maybe get a mixed bag. Again, when you start with something like Mass Effect, where stories are already important, the characters are already important, certainly if you don't carry that forward, it's not going to work.
Always about story, right?
Right. So,
and not just because you're a writer. It really is for everybody.
Exactly. So, but I do think you're seeing a lot of games now, not just our own, like Last of Us, great story there.
And they're very cinematic.
Why can't that move on to movies? Like all of these games that are now much more mature in their storytelling, I think, would translate very well, or to TV.
Right?
Other mediums in general.
Well, yeah, because TV is ongoing just like a video game.
Exactly.
You have more time,
exactly.
right? Oh, excellent, excellent. Yeah. So right now you can play Mass Effect 1 through 3, obviously.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 4 is coming eventually.
Yep.
And Foundation is out right now. The trades of the other comics are already out from Dark Horse.
That's right.
And then what issue are we on Foundation?
Well, I've heard reviews of 4. But
okay.
I've definitely seen 3 on the shelf. So 4 must
press
be
has
right.
Seen 4, right?
Yeah.
Great.
And they're kind of done in little 4, 4, 4 like that. So at the start of each section of 4, it kind of changes up a little bit to keep people.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to ask you is, what are you the most excited about right now in the Mass Effect universe? Like when you go into the office, what are you like? Oh, I can't wait to do this today.
Well, I mean, I think it's just working on the next installment and seeing where that's going to go, because it's not Shepard's story. So whose story is it?
Ooh,
and working around.
do you know whose it is yet?
I do.
Oh, exciting! That's great. Can you give us a hint?
No hints.
Oh no, darn it! Not even a hint.
I know.
Okay, great.
Yeah. It's not Shepard. That's my hint. So.
Okay. Damn, that was my guess. All right. Thank you so much. Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Thank you.